You're about to enter a world where death is the main attraction, and the performers are the ones who got away with murder. Welcome to the twisted realm of true crime entertainment, where the lines between reality and fiction are blurred, and the cost of admission is your sanity. You find yourself standing in the middle of a deserted road, the only sound being the creaking of trees and the distant hum of a car driving by. The darkness surrounds you, and the only light comes from a single street lamp in the distance. As you look around, you notice a figure in the shadows, watching you. This is the world of true crime, where the thrill of the unknown and the fascination with the darker side of human nature come together. The question is, what draws you to this world, and what are you willing to sacrifice for the sake of entertainment? As you walk down this road, you'll encounter the pros and cons of true crime, and you'll have to decide where you stand on the debate. The wind picks up, and the trees creak louder, as if warning you to turn back. But you're curious, and you want to know more. You want to know the arguments for and against true crime, and you want to explore the ethics of profiting off murder. So, you take a deep breath and continue walking, into the heart of darkness. As you walk further down the road, you stumble upon a clearing, and in the center, you find an old, abandoned house. The windows are broken, and the door is hanging off its hinges. You approach the house, and as you enter, you're met with an eerie silence. The air is thick with dust, and the smell of rotting wood fills your nostrils. You begin to explore the house, and you find a room filled with true crime books, podcasts, and TV shows. You realize that this is the lair of a true crime enthusiast, and you start to wonder what drives someone to be so fascinated with murder and serial killers. You find a journal belonging to the enthusiast, and as you flip through the pages, you discover a darker side to their obsession. They're not just fascinated with true crime, they're also profiting off it. They're creating content, selling merchandise, and making a living off the suffering of others. You start to question the ethics of true crime entertainment, and you wonder if it's right to profit off murder. The debate rages on in your mind, as you try to reconcile the arguments for and against true crime. You hear footsteps outside, and you realize you're not alone. The enthusiast is coming back, and they're not happy about you being in their house. You have to make a decision. Do you confront them, or do you sneak out and escape? You decide to sneak out and escape, but as you're running, you hear the enthusiast shouting behind you. You don't dare look back, and you keep running until you're sure you've left them behind. You finally stop to catch your breath, and you realize you're lost in the woods. You have no phone signal, and you're not sure which direction to go. As you're trying to get your bearings, you stumble upon a police car, parked on the side of the road. You approach the car, and you find a detective sitting inside, looking at a map. You explain your situation, and the detective offers to help you. As you're driving with the detective, you start to ask them about true crime, and they share their perspective on the matter. They tell you that true crime is a complex issue, and it's not just about entertainment, it's also about education and awareness. They explain that true crime can be a tool for good, but it can also be used to exploit and sensationalize. You start to realize that the debate around true crime is not just about pros and cons, but also about the impact it has on the victims' families and the community. The detective drops you off at the edge of the woods, and you're left to ponder the complexities of true crime. You look back at the woods, and you wonder what other secrets they hold. You start to think about the arguments for and against true crime, and you realize that there's no clear answer. The debate is ongoing, and it's up to you to decide where you stand. As you're walking away from the police car, you receive a call from an unknown number. You answer, and a voice on the other end claims to be a serial killer. They tell you that they've been watching you, and they know all about your fascination with true crime. They offer to meet with you, and they promise to reveal a dark secret about the true crime community. You're torn between curiosity and fear, and you're not sure what to do. The voice on the other end senses your hesitation, and they tell you that you have 24 hours to decide. If you don't meet with them, they'll make sure that everyone knows about your darkest secrets. You're left with a difficult decision, and you're not sure what the consequences will be. You start to think about the pros and cons of true crime, and you realize that the line between reality and fiction is thinner than you thought. You wonder if you've been playing with fire, and if you're ready to face the consequences. The voice on the other end hangs up, and you're left with an eerie silence. You look around, and you wonder if you're being watched. You start to question everything, including your own morality. Are you willing to meet with a serial killer, or will you try to escape? The clock is ticking, and you have to make a decision. You decide to meet with the serial killer, and you agree to meet at an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. As you approach the warehouse, you feel a sense of trepidation. You're not sure what to expect, and you're not sure if you'll make it out alive. You enter the warehouse, and you're met with a figure dressed in shadows. They reveal themselves to be a true crime enthusiast, and they tell you that they've been manipulating the community from behind the scenes. They've been creating content, selling merchandise, and profiting off the suffering of others. They tell you that they're not the only one, and that there are many more like them. You realize that the true crime community is not what it seems, and that there's a darker side to the fascination with murder and serial killers. You start to feel a sense of unease, and you wonder if you've been complicit in the exploitation of the victims' families. The figure in front of you starts to laugh, and you realize that you've been played. You try to leave, but it's too late. The figure reveals that they've been recording your conversation, and they'll use it to destroy your reputation. You're left with a sense of despair, and you wonder if you'll ever be able to escape the true crime community. The figure disappears into the shadows, and you're left alone in the warehouse. You look around, and you wonder if you'll ever be able to find your way out. You start to think about the ethics of true crime, and you realize that it's not just about entertainment, it's also about responsibility. You wonder if you've been irresponsible, and if you've contributed to the exploitation of the victims' families. The darkness closes in around you, and you're left to face the consequences of your actions. You manage to escape the warehouse, and you're left to pick up the pieces of your life. You realize that the true crime community is not what it seems, and that there's a darker side to the fascination with murder and serial killers. You start to wonder if you've been complicit in the exploitation of the victims' families, and if you've contributed to the sensationalization of true crime. You start to think about the ethics of true crime, and you realize that it's not just about entertainment, it's also about responsibility. You wonder if you've been irresponsible, and if you've contributed to the harm caused by the true crime community. You start to question everything, including your own morality. You realize that the debate around true crime is not just about pros and cons, but also about the impact it has on the victims' families and the community. You start to think about the arguments for and against true crime, and you realize that there's no clear answer. The debate is ongoing, and it's up to you to decide where you stand. You look back at the warehouse, and you wonder if you'll ever be able to escape the true crime community. You start to think about the future, and you wonder if you'll be able to make a difference. You realize that you have a choice, and you can either continue to contribute to the exploitation of the victims' families, or you can use your platform to raise awareness about the ethics of true crime. You start to think about the power of your voice, and you wonder if you can make a difference. The darkness closes in around you, and you're left to face the consequences of your actions. But you're not alone, and you have the power to choose. You can choose to be part of the problem, or you can choose to be part of the solution. The choice is yours, and the future is uncertain. But one thing is clear, the true crime community will continue to thrive, and it's up to you to decide where you stand. Will you continue to contribute to the exploitation of the victims' families, or will you use your platform to raise awareness about the ethics of true crime? The clock is ticking, and the future is waiting. You have to make a decision, and you have to live with the consequences. The darkness closes in around you, and you're left to face the truth. The truth about true crime and the truth about yourself. As you finish watching this video, you're left with a haunting question. Will you continue to consume true crime content, or will you use your platform to raise awareness about the ethics of true crime? The choice is yours, and the future is uncertain. But one thing is clear, the true crime community will continue to thrive, and it's up to you to decide where you stand. Like, comment, and subscribe for more true crime content, and join the debate in the comments below. But be warned, once you enter the world of true crime, there's no turning back. The darkness closes in around you, and you're left to face the truth. The truth about true crime, and the truth about yourself.